Welcome. In this video, we'll walk you through the setup of a two-way mixing station for diluting concentrate. This video will help you set up the station correctly and efficiently. Let's get started. Component overview. First, let's go over the components included in your mixing station kit. Your mixing station kit should include one mixing station, discharge tubes, which include one high-flow tube, this is the long one, and one low-flow tube, this is the short one, two suction tubes with weighted strainers, one metering tip driver, plus metering tips, one filter, and test strips. Choosing the right location. Choose a location that is easily accessible and has the following: access to a water source, room for a concentrate container below the mixing station, room for a mop bucket, nearby floor drain for spills, and no electrical outlets nearby. Attaching the mixing station to the wall, first find a stud area if attaching to drywall. Then mark the wall for drilling, using the holes in the mixing station as a reference. Next, insert anchors and drill into the marked holes. Please note that you will only need to insert screws halfway so that you can easily remove the station for the next steps. Connecting the discharge tubes. With the mixing station removed from the wall, attach the high-flow and low-flow discharge tubes. For two-way mixers, attach the long discharge tube to the high-flow injector, which is the black one. Then attach the short discharge tube to the bottle fill injector, which is the blue one. Connecting to the water source. The next step is to connect the mixing station to your water source. First, insert the filter into the water inlet with the bump facing out. Then, attach the hose to the faucet and the other end to the mixing station. Tip: to avoid leaks, use a screwdriver to push the filter into the mixing station's water inlet and use a crescent or pipe wrench to fully secure the hose to the mixing station and water source. Choosing the right metering tip. Metering tips control your dilution ratio and are affected by your facility's water pressure. So, we now need to determine which metering tip to use. First step, turn on the water faucet and check the pressure gauge. The pressure should be between 25 and 125 psi. Then, make a note of what your actual water pressure is by reading the gauge. Next step, visit the metering tip calculator website. This is where you input the model number of your mixing station and water pressure. For example, if you have a two-way ball valve mixing station, your model number is 985200. Once you have entered your model number and water pressure, select bottle fill, high flow, or low flow, depending on which intake valve you are setting up. The chart under the calculator will then update with metering tip recommendations based on the information you typed in. To find your metering tip for everyday use, look in the chart for a 1:64 dilution ratio or stronger. For example, 1:58 or 1:61. Note, in the calculator, the ratio will be backwards and show up as 64:1 or 61:1. Let's do an example. We are setting up the high-flow valve for a two-way mixing station, and our water pressure is 40 psi. On the calculator, we enter in the model number for the two-way mixing station. Enter 40 psi in the actual water pressure box and then select high flow. Once the chart is updated, we will look for the closest ratio to 1:64. In this case, it is 1:61 or 61:1 in the calculator. Since the corresponding metering tip for 1:61 is clear pink, we will install the clear pink metering tip. Inserting the metering tip. Insert the metering tip into the intake valve, which are the white valves. You will need to use the blue driver to insert the metering tip. Once the metering tip is attached to the white valve, attach the suction tube, also known as the tube with the weighted end, to the intake valve. Then place the weighted end of the tube into the concentrate container, removing air bubbles from the suction tube. At first, the solution from the mixing station will not be diluted correctly, so you will need to run the solution to remove air bubbles from the suction tube. Turn on the ball valve you are calibrating all the way. You should see concentrate moving up the suction tube. Briefly let the solution run into a mop bucket until there are no air bubbles present in the suction tube. This may take up to 60 seconds. Turn off the ball valve and then dump out this solution from the mop bucket. This initial solution will not be diluted correctly. Next, dispense a small amount of solution from the mixing station into an empty container so that you can test its dilution. Using test strips to check the sample solution. Start with dipping the padded end of the strip into the solution for 1 second. Remove the test strip from the solution and hold the strip horizontally and wait for 50 to 55 seconds. Note, The strip will continue to darken after read time, so do not wait longer than 55 seconds to read the strip. Compare the test strip to the color swatch on the bottle that is indicated for your dilution rate. If the test strip matches the color on the bottle for the desired dilution, then you have a good color match. This means you have selected the correct metering tip. If the test strip color is too dark, the solution has too much concentrate and is too strong. You will need to select a new tip that has a higher dilution ratio by referring to the metering tip calculator list. Tip: the new metering tip you select should have a smaller hole, and the tip should be higher on the metering tip index. If your test strip color is too light, then the solution has too little concentrate and is too weak. Select a new tip that has a lower dilution ratio by referring to the metering tip calculator list. Tip: the new metering tip you select should have a larger hole. The tip should be lower on the metering tip index. Repeat these steps as needed until you reach a good color match.